What's up, everybody? Hopping in again to do some mono white painted today. We have a special guest, Eddie the intern. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, happy to be here. I've been
Um,
a long-time fan of the channel. I'm always watching the videos, but yeah, I've been really happy to see Robert picking up on this list recently and really doing well with it. I think you have like four more 5.0s than I do at this
just
point.
a couple.
But
I get lucky. Um, but this was a league I basically went through and I didn't record it, but this time around we can fall back. I'll go through the league again manually, and figure we can start doing the deck list real quick. I want to congratulate Eddie. Is just a great deck builder, and he came up with this on his own, and it's been very fun. It's been great. You guys, a lot of people like it. I love it. It's fun. I'm used to Pyroblast, I have to say, but the deck's got a lot of good angles to it, and congratulate him for doing a great build like this. But this is if you want to go over a few things, Eddie, say what you want.
well, first I gotta thank you. That's so sweet of you to say. Like the deck, I gotta say, got kind of got good by accident. I first developed it because I wanted to get into Legacy, and I knew I loved Painter, but I didn't have the money for City of Traders. I didn't have the money for Ancient Tomb, and over time the deck got built up with a couple more expensive cards, maybe. But other than Painter, the original deck had no expensive cards that I was working with, and the deck still has zero reserve list. So I think it's a good entry point into Painter. A lot of the cards are really applicable to other decks. If you like Painter and Grindstone themselves, you can side grade this into Red Painter easily. You can experiment with all kinds of different color combinations, but there were a bunch of really, really strong white artifact payoffs from Forgotten Realms, namely Oswald Fiddlebender and Ingenious Smith,
Yeah,
and Portable Hole, which were... I was noticing these cards would make a really effective sort of core for a white artifact deck, I thought, in Legacy, because in Legacy, what's more important, like in Modern, all the removal being so efficient at the cost of card advantage, like with Solitude and Unholy Heat. I was playing a lot of Modern at the time, and the removal that's around in Modern is just really good at wiping out creatures quickly. It's hard to make anything really stick, whereas in Legacy, you can just kind of resolve like a 2-drop, and if they can't kill it, you can just kind of run away with it. So the point of this deck basically is that every creature in the deck that you resolve, they really, really want to kill it. Esper Sentinel, Mother of Runes, Aethersworn Canonist, whatever it may be. This whole package of creatures that will just completely win the game on their own if they're not answered. So your opponent has to burn Force of Will, which they don't want to do because it 2-for-1s them. You don't want to Force a Will and Esper Sentinel turn 1 if you're Delver, but you might have to, because then otherwise you can't resolve your cantrips without making them draw me, a card every time. So, basically, you just play cards that they have to answer, and at the point that they can't answer the card, you win the game. Right? So it provides you a lot of card advantage with cards like Ingenious Smith and card selection with Oswald, and you can really constrict their plays with Mother Runes and Aethersworn Canonist, and Painter obviously is just half of a game-winning combo. So you have this really high density of cards that add to the board really meaningfully, to the point where you have this aggro plan, this like white weenie creature beatdown, which a lot of the time wins you the game before the combo does. This deck is much slower to combo than Red Base Painter.
right.
It wins much more slowly. It's much more deliberate. It's not even possible to get a turn 2 win or a turn 1 win like it is with Red Painter.
Yeah.
But
You make up for that with attacks and with just value cards,
right,
value, stuff like that.
right. It just kind of, it doesn't mind the game being taken long. And Red Painter is a slower combo deck by Legacy standards. It's slower than Epic Storm. It's slower than Reanimator. It's slower than, I don't know, Doomsday, right, for the most part. But
Sometimes.
White Paint...
Depends on how long it takes to make
Yeah, it depends on the hand. It depends on the hand. Of course, you can get some really fast hands, but it's not like a deck like Reanimator where the point is just to make turn 1 Grizzlebrand every game, right?
Right.
But it's got Red Painter has more play to it, but White Painter, it barely plays like a combo deck. It plays like something more like Green White Depths, which has a immediate I win the game button at some point, but usually doesn't want to press it until it already has the board under control. You don't want to be ramming stuff out. You can go for turn 3 wins a fair amount of the time with Aether Vial and Urza Saga, but
Yeah.
that can be a higher risk line than
Yeah.
just, plain Mother Runes, protect yourself, keep it going like that.
Yeah, I think one of the best things about red too right now, anyway, is the force of will we have. But
Yeah,
that's part of the deck. But going back to white here is one of my favorite things about this deck, and I have to say is Wasteland.
yeah,
It is nuts in this deck. I know it's kind of like off the beaten path, but it's such a good part. It's like the fourth aspect of this deck.
yeah.
You have the Mother of Runes, Esper Sentinel, Vial, Painter Servant, removal. At this one canist, and you have Wasteland. It's nuts.
Right. I think that like the ability you constrict your opponent's plays with Red Painter by actually countering their spells and actually removing their creatures with things like Fury. But with White Painter, you kind of keep the card stuck in your opponent's hand because Mother of Runes just blanks the first removal spell each turn. Aethersworn Cannon says you can only put one of those cards out of your hand each turn. Right? So you just are very meaningfully contributing to the game on low mana while your opponent can't do anything because you're
Yeah,
keeping them off plays.
yeah,
And you're slowly building up advantage to the point where they just can't come back.
right.
Or you can, against a deck that's faster than you can take a more passive role at first, a portable hull, and after sideboarding you have a ton more removal, and you're grinding advantage out of their plays with Esper Sentinel, and then eventually you can start slamming haymakers.
So
So it really is a deck in that way, even though the curve is so low.
yeah, go over the sideboard. A couple cards we had mentioned before the video. I know I had pulled this list off. I don't know, it was a couple months old, but
Yeah.
Disenchant. I think I mentioned in the videos too. March of the Otherworldly Light is a card, and a lot of the reason why I didn't go that route is because I didn't want to purchase the card, to be honest
It's
with you
totally
guys.
reasonable.
And the Disenchant just did the job for me. I'm old school enchantment artifact. But go ahead. Why
Yeah.
don't you talk about like March of the Otherworldly Light in this deck?
So March of Otherworldly Light says X and a white. You can exile any number of white cards from your hand, and they make it two colorless cheaper
Yep.
to cast. Exile target enchantment, artifact, or creature with mana value X or less. So that card is interesting because you can maybe name white with Painter in some fringe situations and exile a planes or something that feels
Yeah.
good. But for the most part, it's just because it's an all-purpose answer to Chalice. You used to have to run Ratchet Bomb in the sideboard for that, which is really disappointing, and can hurt us often more than it helps us. But March is cool because it's like a one-for-one answer with Chalice, which is the same thing Disenchant does. Disenchant takes out, I don't know, Trinisphere, cards that might give you trouble. Nobody plays Humility, but it can kill Humility. March of Otherworldly Light, on the other hand, can kill Collector Roof, and also it kills Urza Saga for 1 mana
Yep.
against opposing Saga decks, which is where it really shines against like 8 casts and Moon Stompy. But Disenchant is also effective against those decks. It's a very, very solid budget replacement
Yeah.
for March.
So what else? Anything else you want to say about the sideboard? I like Deafening Silence. Yeah, I'm coming out
Yeah,
on
Deafening Silence is great.
from 1 mana early is just key.
Yeah,
Very good.
for sure.
Um,
There are some situations where I feel like you have a Canonist and 2 Thalias there. There's this I don't know what's above the Torpor, by the way. Your face cam is above that, but
oh, sorry.
what's the card?
Can you see that?
Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's a
Sorry.
cage. Yeah. So usually you want to have some combination of these kind of 2 mana hate bears that you can bring in, maybe in matchups where Canonist isn't effective, or in matchups where they might have Caracas for Oswald or something. I don't know, or you want to go down to 3 Painters. You can have a lot of flexibility in terms of how you build this deck. And also you should usually cut Crucible against fast combos, so you bring in something like Dahlia or Spirit of the Labyrinth, which is a more high impact
Yep.
play. I mean, Crucible will immediately win you the game. It's also the only thing that Oswald hits at 3 mana, which is what's important about it. But
Yep.
you want things like there's Phyrexian Revoker. You can play more copies of Canonist, like you have the 4th Canonist in the sideboard
Yep.
right now. But, sometimes I feel like I just want to play 4 Deafening Silence, and I know every time I do that I'm going to get punished by like never running into combo. But the deck tends to be really, really overwhelmingly favored against fair matchups, and often worse against faster combo decks because you don't have very many ways to interact on the stack.
Yeah.
But Deafening Silence is a really pretty solid way to deal with that issue. And so is Leyline. The good thing about Leyline, I think that there's a lot of debate, as there always is in Legacy sideboarding, between Leyline and Fairy Macabre and Surgical and other forms of turn 0 graveyard interaction, because you got to beat Reanimator, you got to beat these turn 1 Echo Vions decks. And that I think makes me favor Leyline in this deck over those other options is that you can build an effective board behind it, right? So a lot of decks will just play, like if a control deck is trying to play Leyline, you jam the Leyline and then you give your opponent some free turns, they just Serenity the Leyline and then they win with Grizzlebrand. Whereas if you're playing it in a proactive deck like this, you can start doing other things that they have to answer to. Or, I don't know, their Force of Vigor, whatever deck may be. And that's what I think is pushing me towards Leyline. I have tried Surgical before. I find it kind of medium. You never draw it when you want to, I feel like. Same problem with Leyline, but Leyline is just a much higher impact play, I think, turn 0.
Yeah.
Also, we barely use Graveyard, which is a difference from Red Painter. I think the only way in the main deck to make use of our own Graveyard is Crucible. So, some people might... This is like gaming it, but some opponents might expect us to have Goblin Welder effects, bring in their own Graveyard Hate. Once they see Painter, doesn't do anything, you know?
Yep.
I think that one reason I built the deck the way I did originally, because I didn't want it to be super susceptible to any individual sideboard hate cards. So, Null Rod, you can win through a Null Rod. You know, you can win through a... oh, hey, what's up? We have more more Painter discard friends in the chat.
Everybody?
But you can win through a Leyline, you win through Leyline of Sanctity, even. You can just, you know, because you have such a strong B plan of just making creatures and attacking.
Yeah.
There's very little your opponent can do to just end the game with one card.
Yeah. So far, that deck's been a blast. I've had a great. We have some Toolbox artifacts here too. If you want to go over some of those.
Yeah, we've got a nice package of 1-drops here. We got. I always like having a mainboard Pithing Needle. I think in every Saga deck you should try to have a mainboard Pithing Needle, because your opponent might just play some kind of stupid Planeswalker you have no other way to answer.
Yeah, especially in this list.
Yep. You have Hope of Gearper. I love Hope of Gearper. Hope of Gearper has so much text on it.
The card's great. I think it's phenomenal. And plus, I say too, when I board with this deck too, is kind of be careful, because these cards are tinker targets for Oswald. So,
yep.
Multifaceted cards, they do have kind of applications here too as well. So
any card in the deck that's a 1 converted mana cost artifact means it's Painter next turn if you have Oswald.
So be careful,
which is very important.
Stuff like this.
So there's like this argument I've been doing internally about the fast mana package in this deck, or quote unquote fast mana, like mana acceleration cards. I usually want to be on 4 of them, and I want them to all be artifacts, but it's got to be some combination of Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, and Aether Vial, depending on the meta. And I think with Delver and other Force of Will decks and decks that are built to beat Delver running around right now, Aether Vial is a really strong option. Yeah. So the 3 Vial, 1 Opal is where I like being right now.
I like that. I dig it. I think it's great. It always, gets a Force of Will. It's a good blend.
Yep.
4 Vial just feels like a lot, but it's good enough. It's just enough. Everything's, I gotta say, I love the way it is. I mean, a lot of people get technical with this stuff, but I just think everything's tuned. I mean, what do you think of Retrofitter, Foundry, Eddie?
Retrofitter is interesting. Retrofitter has been underperforming for me lately, and then I just went undefeated at my local because I forgot to bring it out of the deck before the event, and it won me the game against Lands. So I think that when your metagame is high on decks like Lands and Jeskai Control and things like that, Retrofitter is invaluable. And when it's not, when it's faster decks, when it's Delver, when it's combo, when it's, depths that can just build a bigger board than you anyway, Retrofitter might not be so good. But I've been thinking about, because of that, Lion Sash tends to be good against, like, D&T and stuff like that, and there's not a ton of that either. So I've been thinking about...
So Lion Sash is good against D&T.
Oh, yeah, you just eat all their wastelands. Yeah. You eat all their stuff out of their board, you just build a bigger thing than them, and then you attach it to your creature as a form of protection. It's good against lands. Same reason you eat their loam, you eat their lands in the graveyard for loam.
I was just,
Yeah. I think that Lion Sash and Retrofitter are sort of the weak points. They're in the flex slots in the deck, so to speak. You gotta have Soul Guide Lantern, by the way. In every Painter deck, you need 1 copy of Mainboard Soul Guide Lantern in case of Eldrazi Shuffle effect.
Yep.
And just incidental graveyard hate. But,
if you don't have Karn. For Tormod's Crypt, but anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Karn obviates that, but this is... People do play Karn in Mono White Painter, but I don't like it so much. I think it's more vulnerable to Delver. You have to play Ancient Tomb and cut into your own life total. But, I like having the smooth, low curve, it just makes everything play really really cleanly, very consistently. But Retrofitter and Lion Sash I've been thinking about just taking out for Shadow Spear and Revoker.
Okay.
And I made that move online. I've enjoyed it. I just haven't made it in paper yet because I can't find a Shadow Spear. But once I do, I think that's where I would be right now. That's the only changes I would make to this main board. Sideboard looks good to me. I've been liking. I have this little Enlightened Tutor package, which I like in the sideboard. You play like one Enlightened Tutor as the second copy of 3 2-mana hate effects. So you play Enlightened Tutor, and then Torpor Orb, Spellskite, and Spirit of the Labyrinth, which Enlightened Tutor can find because it's an enchantment creature.
Yep.
So you can it's like bringing in 2 copies of any of those 1 cards, which I've been enjoying. But this sideboard is very well constructed. The 3 plows are like the key part of the White Painter sideboard, basically.
Yeah, I like that. Sounds good.
Yep.
Grafdigger's Cage too. You like that still?
Yeah, I like Cage. Cage is cool because you would think it like stops Oswald and is bad, but you just sacrifice the Cage to Oswald, so you don't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
It's good about it's good in like it's good in certain metagames and pretty impotent in others, but with a lot of Zenith and Reanimator stuff happening right now, I think Cage is good. It's in a good position. Nice. It also has the sick horror movie Secret Lair art if you play it in paper, so that's an advantage in its favor.
I try to go with the original arts in some of these cards, but
I
don't know.
It's gorgeous. All right, you have the alpha.
I was going to say too, the other land you had in here that it was kind of cute.
Oh, Iganjo Castle. Yeah, Iganjo Castle is interesting. So this is new Iganjo, which is Iganjo Seat of the Empire, which you channel. And this one's good because, actually, Hope of Girper has like a lot of sneaky text. Because of being a legendary creature, it makes Iganjo cheaper, so you can channel Iganjo on turn 2 instead of just on turn 1. Okay. And it bounces with Caracas. So if your opponent has a Murktide Regent and you have an Ether Vial on 1 and a Hope of Girper, their Murktide Regent will never do damage to you for the rest of the game.
Nice.
You just bounce, you block, bounce, Violet back in.
Yeah.
You know,
that's crazy.
Or
I
Mother
forgot that it was legendary. I totally didn't realize that.
It being a legendary creature is a very important piece of text on the card.
It is.
But the other one is Iganjo Castle, the original Iganjo from Betrayers of Kamigawa or Saviors of Kamigawa, Champion. I don't remember which one of the original Kamigawa sets. That is just a legendary plains that you pay 1 white and tap it, and you can prevent the next 2 damage to a legendary creature. Meaning you can make Oswald not die to Bolt. Is mainly the advantage of this card, And this card, the debate whether this is better or just another plains, which is what you have in this list, is better, is totally up in the air.
Yeah.
I think you can go with either. Yeah, you just worry about Wasteland or Blood Moon or whatever, but
have you used this card? Has this come up for you a couple times? Or?
Yeah, it has. I used it. Actually, I don't think the match is on camera, but at the local the other night, I used it to stop a Punishing Fire from killing Oswald against lands.
Yeah. And of course, we know Caracas bounces Oswald.
Caracas, of course, is invaluable, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah. So nice.
I think that it's a lot like Mother of Runes, Caracas, in that it's like, if you have an untapped Caracas, your opponent has a much more limited set of plays they can make around your board as long as it involves Oswald. Oswald, of course, is a key card in the deck. If you're not familiar, it's a birthing pod for artifacts. It's just like an extremely powerful effect that I think is probably underplayed in multiple formats, if I had to guess. It has, first of all, just a 2/2 for 2, lowest possible rate, which in a game of Legacy can eventually win the game on like turn 10 if you're both top decking. But not only is it that, it's a 2/2 for 2 that will turn any of your artifacts into any of your other artifacts and enable a lot of turn 4 wins, enable a lot of, I don't know, canonists if you need it against elves on their turn 3 or something like that. It can only be activated as a sorcery, which is a downside, but that's much less important than the upside.
My question too is on a turn 2 play, or turn 1 and 2, we'll go turn 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the opponent's on. I mean, we'll just go over it real quick. Mother of Runes, Aether Vial, or Esper Sentinel.
It's a totally debatable situation. It's so difficult. I usually like to blind Vial turn 1 just because it means you can
set it
2
up.
of them and then Vial on 2 on turn 3. But if you have just Sentinel and Mother in hand, it's pretty up in the air. I like playing Sentinel first just because if you play Sentinel first, it means that your opponent's 1-mana kill spell will draw you a card if they're going to use it on turn 1. So suppose your opponent has 2 Fatal Pushes. You have an Esper Sentinel and a Mother of Runes.
Yeah.
Right? You play your Esper Sentinel. If they want to Fatal Push the Esper Sentinel, you draw a card.
Yep.
Right? You play Mother Runes, they can just Fatal Push it. And then you turn 2 Esper Sentinel. They have their second land now. Right. They Fatal Push it and pay for it. So the most card advantageous way to play the 2 cards out sequentially is Sentinel and then Mother. But if you think you're going to be winning with Painter, maybe smarter, like on turn 3 or something, it may be smarter to make the turn 1 play Mom. Right. Because if they don't have that removal spell, if they have to find out they have to draw into the removal spell, having Mom active on turn 2 is invaluable in that case.
So it is
So it depends on the character of your hand, really.
And the turn 2 play, clearly dependent on what you have and what the board looks like. Oswald and Genius Smith.
It's hard to say. I tend to think Oswald is more in line with the combo plan and Smith is more in line with the beatdown plan most of the time. But at the same time, Smith finds Painter. Smith finds Grindstone. Right. Oswald finds those things too. It's just Oswald also will find you a Canonist to slow your opponent down. I think basically they're both very flexible, very powerful 2-drops.
Yeah.
I guess if you think that you have to win next turn, or you have to stop them from winning next turn, Oswald is probably smarter.
Right.
But if you're comfortable with the game going for a few more turns, Smith is the better play on turn 2.
Right. And you need to have things to tinker for, etc.
Right, exactly. You don't want to play out like a blind Oswald with nothing, I think.
So like Ancient Den is a 0 casting, 0.
Yep.
So
that's the sneaky thing. Ancient Den is a really important card because it means that Oswald often has a 0-drop, even though you only play 1 actual 0-mana artifact because you have the 4 artifact lands.
Yeah.
But it also means that Ingenious Smith can find you a land drop.
Yeah. Which
is you can't rely on that, but it's very nice cushion to have a lot of the time.
Yeah. Sweet. Of course, Esper Sentinel, it's just a great card in Legacy anyway.
Classic card.
What else can we talk about? Portable Holes is
awesome. Portable Hole is great. I like the 2 main board Portable Holes. I used to be on 1, and then I went up to 2, and I never went back. It's just so effective because they have a random game 1 oof, random game 1 Delver, something you got to remove. Hole is super clutch for that, and also it comes in. It's an artifact. It doesn't worry about those null rod effects. So if you sacrifice your 0-mana artifact to Oswald, who's not an artifact himself, so he can be activated, you can find the hole and just exile their thing and then go off.
Right. I know. I think I did. I had a game where it was I tinker for something. Oh shit! There's a hole in this deck. I can get that.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Exactly.
So yeah, the deck's sweet. So I ran a league and I guess we can go over it.
Yeah, why not? Let's go for the games.
Very very mediocre, but we'll go to game settings here.
You 5-0. Don't talk about mediocre.
Oh, it's luck, dude. You know what I mean? All right, so
yeah, I know what you mean.
Start here. Bear with me. I think this was a mono red prison deck. Mono red Ruby Storm. I want to say
Ruby Storm. I think I remember I saw.
Forgive me, everybody. Here we go.
That's usually a bad matchup for this deck, so I'm interested to see how you play this.
Yeah, so I don't want to skip anything, so I think it's. I'll start with the play button here.
Yeah, this will just play it. Okay, so we've got a nice opening hand here.
Yeah, it's very nice.
We don't really have a proactive turn 1 play, but that's okay. You might honestly rather be on the draw with this hand, not that we knew before we saw it, but being able to Portable Hole something turn 1 lets you be more mana efficient and draw the extra card, but not a lot of the time do you want to be on the draw with this deck. But you're okay being on the draw, which is a nice...
I'll press play here. So he plays a red, I don't know what's going on.
So he plays Mountain Pass, which I would be thinking Red Painter if I saw Mountain Pass. That's probably the best draw you could possibly have had in the deck.
Yeah. Alright, so what am I doing here? I don't know.
I would play Smith here. I don't know what you're going to play. Yeah.
Play Smith, thankfully.
It's just the most open... I just see Mountain. I don't think my opponent's threatening to kill me,
I'm just going to press play. My hands are off the
thing. Yeah. So, okay, that looks like Red Stompy now. No, it's not. It's Ruby Storm. They're going to play 15 spells.
I end up conceding here, it looks like.
Jessica Will, they're going to Burning Wish, they're going to Reforge.
Game over.
Yeah.
I know Tony Scapone. I love the kid. I saw him.
He's my guy. He beat me in the first round at the Legacy Pit, and ultimately I was one match short of making day 2.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I saw round one. I was like, oh, I'm at the legacy pit. I'm ready to see my pairings. And then game two,
Yeah.
or get match one Tony Scapone. I was like, oh. I did a decent showing though. So I assume you bring in Deafening Silence. You bring in
Yeah. Oh, so,
yeah.
let me go back. I can actually go back there. That's why they're playing the deal here. Let me warm
Yeah.
up for this. So I think it's this button I got to hit. Show my first hands. So this hand, I mean, you mull this.
I mean,
right?
the hand is so tough because of the no white mana.
Yeah.
I mean, you really want to keep it, but you just can't. There's nothing proactive.
Yeah.
One planes over a painter, and this would be like the ideal hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you got them all.
This hand you can do.
So no white mana, got a mulligan.
Yeah. And
this hand looks okay.
Yeah. I'll just press.
This hand is not unreasonable.
What did I put back? I
would make you put an opal back. I think is the right play. You just put everything that doesn't do it. Opal and Ether Vial, maybe. Everything that doesn't impact the board. So there's an Ancient Tomb. Running at Ruby Medallion, drawing us a card. Thank you very much. Right into the ley line, as always. Yeah. Always the 8th card into the deck.
So ley line because of Echo. I mean, Echo. Whatever.
Yeah, but now we've got double Canonists, so they're going to have trouble playing through this. Ruby Storm, unlike the Epic Storm can just like play 15 artifacts and then win. You don't even need to like worry about Canonist to play like Epic Storm, but Ruby Storm has much more difficulty with this card. So we have this, and we have our Grindstone, which, because it's an artifact, you can play it after Canonist, no problem.
And I think this is it.
This is really going to gum up their board, yeah. They have very difficult... I mean, unless you can have, like, Pyroclasm or something? I don't know what they would play, even, to get through this.
They bring in Shattering Spree, too.
Yeah, but... Because it... You know. So they're going to play a tap land turn 1. We got Dahlia turn 2, Sentinel turn 1, so this is pretty good.
So what are you doing here?
But I think you decide to waste them. I think that's probably smart. Because them playing this tap land means they don't have a better land to play turn 1, so I would tend to move in the direction of removing this. Although on paper I might try to look for tells, see, like, you know, what my opponent is acting like they might have. But this is definitely Sentinel over Grindstone. Grindstone is not important to have in hand right now. It might be later if we draw a Painter. So they do not have a third land, so it's totally correct to waste them there. And now we've got...
clearly.
We're just playing Death and Taxes here, but that's alright by me, especially in this matchup. Dahlia is a card I, cycle in and out of my sideboard depending on what people are playing. Yeah.
I think Dahlia is very strong in this deck, I have to say.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just like, I think she's less synergistic with the deck's plan, which makes me want her in the sideboard more than the main deck. For the most part.
I hear you.
But we've got game 2 here. I don't know who this is against.
Alright, so this guy is Doomsday.
Doomsday.
Which I didn't think it was Doomsday. I played him before. I thought it was blue red or whatever, but let's see what happens here.
Okay, so you mull the...
Let me go back. I'm sorry, Eddie.
Yeah, that's all good.
Go through that so fast. Alright, so I'll press play slowly. So every time I click this, like it just went through the next...
It goes forward a step, I think, when you click
each
that.
step, so, okay, now here we go.
Each, priority. Okay, so this is our opening hand. It's a one-lander. We can do better than this. This is not an awful hand. If we were on, 6 or something, I'd probably keep this and bottom the Crucible.
Yeah.
Just because Opal will be on turn 2.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a second land, but...
I was thinking it was a Wasteland deck. I played him on, blue-red.
Yeah. We have 23 lands in the deck, so... This looks good. This is a really great hand.
What did I put back? I think
I'd probably put back the second Sentinel. But there's an argument to put back the third land.
I think a land, but...
yeah, okay.
It could have been
a
play here.
If you're thinking that they're a Wasteland deck, putting back the...
I can find a land off Smith, too, so it's just a fast thing.
You're also probably going to draw some cards off Sentinels this game. And we'll probably draw the third land. We have enough. So they go for the Polluted Delta Pass. Still looks like Delver.
So I played...
Interesting play.
Yeah,
I would have played Smith there.
Absolutely.
Interesting play. But if this is Doomsday, which we find out later it is, that actually might be the right play. Because...
Well, I was thinking maybe... believe me, I'm prone to making plays like this all day, but I could have been playing around days there, maybe just kind of...
Yeah, it might have been... I wouldn't mind just getting my Smith dazed there, honestly, to set him back on a land.
Yeah.
Because if they try to daze our Smith... Yep, So they play a Lotus Petal, so we think they're going to Doomsday this turn.
Clearly don't care about Esper Sentinel.
Yep.
Doomsday.
So they've got a Doomsday. What's interesting is if we draw Opal, we can grind it next turn.
Yes, and I do draw Opal. And I play.
Oh!
And I think I play Grindstone. He Force of Wills it.
No! It's so brutal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I probably shouldn't have played Mox Opal first.
Yeah.
I should have held him.
Then he could have forced the Mox, right? So it's the same difference.
Could have forced that too, right? But I think he would have been less likely to force the Mox, right?
Yeah. So at this point, I guess our out is play Ingenious Smith, look for Pithing Needle, and name Street Wraith, depending on what's in his exile zone, but no Needle.
Slower here. So that triggers, yep. And it's 2/2.
Yeah, so we're going to get close, but looks like no cigar, unless they're trying to make a triple Street Wraith pile or something, in which case they won't have enough life left to put it together. But nope, it's the Consider Deep Analysis line. Yep. There we go.
Okay. And I think it was match 2 here.
So a lot of the combo with this deck revolve around just making a permanent that they have to answer. And then
I went back again. Let me go back. Keep doing that, sorry.
Oh, good.
Because I want to see what that hand was I mouthed.
Right.
We can talk about it anyway.
Okay, let's see. So this is unfortunately a mulligan, even though it's got some great hate pieces. You just don't want to you don't want to not draw the second land here because then you got nothing to do.
Torp Orbs, I mean, nail in the collar.
Torp Orb, yeah, just kills,
And this hand here was very good.
That hand is an instant keep. Wasteland is great. I would probably bottom the Lion Sash.
Yeah, I kept that card in. I must have overlooked it, but
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, it's not horrible because you can kill the Deep Analysis if they go for that line. It's not like a card to that text, but turn 1 Deafening Silence is very brutal for Doomsday most of the time. More than it might seem, because they're just trying to do this thing where you can't do Dark Ritual, you're gonna do Ponder. Yeah, I would honestly either run out Painter or Torpor up here. Yeah,
it was kind of risky with Orb there, but
it's fine because they can't make 3 mana until they just have 3 mana, right?
Yeah.
Because Lotus Petal is a spell, which means that we can keep wasting, and now we've got a Canvas, so it's like, yeah. This feels pretty locked up at this point.
Which the opponent does.
Doomsday is capable about winning out of nowhere.
Right. And he did try. They did try. Wasteland is so good in this deck, I don't know.
Yeah. We've got Oswald now. Gets forced. So they must have just drawn that force off the brainstorm. Oh. Opponent must be.
So I think this was a Teferi build too, white.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the like quote unquote Turbo Doomsday. The Tempo Doomsday is still Grixis, and then the Turbo Doomsday is Esper now with Teferi and stuff in the sideboard. They might have Serenity or something to be careful for. I don't know what else they're playing in the sideboard. But surely nothing nice. Yeah, they have. I mean, they're just. I don't know why. I guess you got to do what you got to do, but
yeah,
we're gonna take him off the blue mana, and we're gonna keep doing damage to him, and we have Torpor Orb in play anyway.
Yeah, Wasteland was the all-star there too.
Yeah, very locked up. So now we've got game 3. All right, let's see what the opener is. Okay, so this looks great.
Yeah,
this looks really great.
All right,
as a 7-card hand.
So clearly, you just play it out.
Yep.
You're going to 4 here, by the way.
Yeah, tough for them. But, I mean, if they have the turn 1 Doomsday, but they don't. So now we've got the silence resolved. We're in a pretty okay position. They're going to fetch, probably ponder, yeah.
So is it Thalia or Candace for you there? It's probably Thalia, right?
I would play Thalia before I play Canonist there for sure. Because next turn you can Canonist and Wasteland, which is just destructive. Yep. So they're playing Brainstorm through the Thalia attacks. Is there 1 spell for turn because of Canonist? I think that was a missed attack there, but it's all good.
Oh, I missed? Yeah. Oh, I'm good for
Yeah, we
that.
all missed attacks. I know I do, online especially. So they're playing Predict.
I think he named me.
It seems like kind of a desperation Predict at this point.
Yeah.
We can take him off the 3rd mana again. I would run out Smith before I see anything else. Yeah. You got Sentinel. It's all good, but still better to waste him. Yeah, but you can see with White Panther, you can just build these boards that your opponent has extreme difficulty doing anything around. Like, let them cast their cantrips and stuff. They're not contributing meaningfully to the game if the game is now about what creatures are in play and what they have to play around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
Pretty good.
All right. That was him. What else we have here? This guy was on Burn, I believe.
Burn?
Yeah.
Interesting. That seems a bad trip for this deck. I don't think I've ever lost to Burn.
Yeah. Urza Saga's always been very good.
Yeah.
Hand's good, right?
Yeah. I keep this hand. This is a very, very strong combo forward hand, for sure. Opponent's probably pretty confused by Plains Grindstone here, unless they are in the know.
I know.
Oh, Candace is also just great against Burn.
So I play on Mox Opal because of Eidolon, too.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
They can eat a Burn.
And they have to waste the bolt on that, and we got Painter on top, so they know the jig is up, but now we got double Painter this turn, so.
I'll make a creature here instead.
Oh, I would play double Painter.
I should.
For sure.
How many cards now? 3?
So they've got Light Up the Stage Burn, which is interesting. And they just run this entire construct, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I could have played double Painter there for sure.
I mean, I think we're in a good... Part of the reason this deck is so good against Burn is whatever you're doing is good against them. You're gumming up the board, you're playing cards they have to answer, all your hate pieces are effective against them. That's part of why Burn, I think, is bad in Legacy right now in general, is that the cards that people are playing to just beat fast combo, Zero Lander, gotta throw this back. The cards that people are playing to beat fast combo also beat Burn, and Burn itself is like not doing anything as powerful as Reanimator or Doomsday.
What are you throwing back here, Eddie?
Probably second Smith, maybe? It's close. I guess we're in the draw, so we're gonna want a portable holo 1-drop. It might be... It's gotta be second Smith. But it's weird.
What did I throw back?
Yeah, Canonist. I mean, that's defensible. I think I would like Canonist here, though.
Yeah.
But let's see how it plays out. It's always different. Alright, there's a Chain Lightning. So we just play that out to get around Eidolon.
Smashes my 10.
It'll happen. One thing I like about the Canonist is it's the 3rd artifact.
Exactly. Maybe thinking
the worlds where we can't resolve Portable Hull. Yeah, I mean, we're in trouble. We do have a blocker now, though, so let's see how it goes. But they just need to have 2 bird spells. I would not have... I would have thrown that straight to the face there if I was the opponent.
So, Drew Wasteland, colorless tap. I think I play Smith here.
Yeah, Smith is reasonable. You know, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why I would have bolted face there, because I've already seen Portable Hull. Right?
Yeah.
If I'm opponent. And now I have to draw spells or Mountain on a Fire Blast or something.
Play Oswald.
Yeah, you gotta resolve Oswald. You can play Sentinel, Violin, the other Sentinel on their turn. So, because the way Ingenious Smith is worded, it says each time an artifact enters for the first time each turn, not on each of your turns. Yeah,
there's
Fire
exactly
Blast.
4 there, too.
Brutal.
Land for Fire Blast. Alright, game 3.
But, you can do, if you put an artifact in on your turn and then your opponent's turn, you can double up on the Smith counters.
Right.
Each turn cycle.
His end step, you put the Sentinel in, Violet in.
Right.
Get a counter. It happens once each turn.
There's a lot of ways to make artifacts in your opponent's turn. You can use Retrofit, or you can use Urza Saga, of course.
What are you doing here, Eddie?
I think I keep this.
Keep this.
Thalia's critical.
You're playing turn 1.
I would play probably Mother of Runes on turn 1.
See what I play.
I think If Grindstone is the only card I would not play on turn 1. Yeah, that's the play I would make. Because if your opponent, I mean, they really don't want to bolt this turn 1. Yeah, they just got the spike, and now it's just like mass. I mean, yeah. At this point, we have a protected Thalia. They have an Eidolon, but it doesn't even matter because we don't need to cast another spell for the rest of the game. All we do is play the planes, and then just start making constructs. So,
do not attack there.
I would have probably attacked. Yeah. I don't know what you're worried about. Maybe like, I guess you're worried about Fire Blast, but it doesn't matter.
Trying to save damage. Plus, I can make fat tokens. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The tokens. Yeah. Also, the first time your first token is going to attack, it's going to be a 3/3, so it attacks through the Eidolon. Yeah.
So I think
because you make both tokens. Yeah, there's Lava Spike. Okay, can't do anything about that.
And he suspends it.
But at this point, they're just slowly doing damage to us. There are worlds where if we had Shadow Spear in the deck, we would probably get it here. But
I got a
Vial.
Vial, yeah.
So you can play around the Eidolon more effectively. But at this point, we're outracing them.
Okay, so the bolt goes off. What's he go for? I think he goes for Thalia here, correct? Now, what do you do here? Do you protect her?
Yeah, you always protect her, for sure.
I was thinking maybe my tokens are my key to victory here, but anyway.
Yeah, I think that the thing about your tokens is that every time they remove one of your tokens, they take 2 life, right? And you're winning the race at this point. So I think that what we're worried about here is I don't even know what they could. I mean, cast. They have to spend extra mana to cast everything. So I guess you're worried about like I don't even know. I don't know what card Burn could possibly play that would threaten us in this situation. Because they can't cast Smash the Smithereens.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the 3rd mana to pay for Thalia. I think that protecting Thalia is always the move.
Yeah, at this point, I could play a Grindstone and get fat, too.
Exactly. You play Grindstone, and then, I mean, you don't even need to, honestly. I would probably try to not cast another spell until they have to block with the Eidolon.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you can just unload.
All right. Where are we here? Okay, this gentleman, who was this? I forget. This could have been,
Let's find out here.
I kept this hand.
This looks like a good opener. Turn 1, Sentinel, yeah. And there's the Mom Sentinel dilemma, right? What do you play first? But
yeah.
Sentinel's either going to tax their mana or draw you a card, 95% of the time.
Yeah.
I guess, like, both those cards are kind of bad against elves, but I guess against elves it would be an issue. We're going to draw a card off whatever they get from this, I guess. Is this Rhinos, maybe?
Yeah, it's just Crashing Footfalls, now that I remember.
So I guess we draw a card and they get 2 4/4s, so it seems like, I don't know about that deal,
but... what happens here?
Yeah, so now, I mean, suddenly, that's pretty bad, but we do have Canist to prevent future footfalls.
Yeah.
I don't feel very advantaged in this position, though. We have trouble getting through these 2 on board 4/4 tramplers right now. Although, if we can stay alive, the Saga is going to make tokens that are bigger than them before long.
I guess my Vial was smart.
Yep. You can't block here, even though it sucks.
Painter.
Aha! There we go.
Force of Will.
So you resolve a Painter and then he gets forced. Yep.
That's just lethal.
Not quite. Not quite. Now they have lethal. Or they have lethal and, undrawably. Yeah. Tough.
Game.
Yep. Not quite what we needed, but Canis does stop Cascade.
Right.
Which is good.
I tried.
We have a lot of play against this deck. You see a lot of these lose game 1s, win games 2 and 3 with this deck. Which is interesting for a deck that's doing something as proactive as Painter combo.
I should be going over board plans too. We should be going over board plans.
Yeah. So what do you think we're bringing in and out? You want to bring up the list on screen
Yeah.
here so we can look? If you remember what you did.
Um, all right. So board again. So what we have? We had Doomsday. We had.
Yeah.
We'll go over this game, I guess. What are you bringing in here, Eddie?
Uh, mm, I mean, I don't know. Are they gonna have like Null Rod or something? I have no idea what they even play.
They
So
bring like I think it's Minsk and Boo. They bring in Force of Vigor.
yeah, they have all kinds
Petty Staff.
of weird shit. I don't know. I think we're pretty. Bring in the fourth canonist
Yeah.
if we have, and does no deafening or Cage doesn't stop Cascade, does it?
Graveyards or libraries.
Are they casting a spell from library when they cascade into it?
No.
It's from exile, right?
Exile, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You bringing in
I'd
swords?
probably just because they're gonna have Minsk and Boo and they're gonna have Collect the Roof and stuff. Endurance.
Yeah.
Plow's good against. I would probably just bring in Plows, take out maybe Crucible. Portable Hole seems bad.
Yeah.
Because they don't play any permanents. Well, I guess you could Portable Hole a Rhino, but
So
maybe it's okay.
Doomsday too, Eddie. What are you bringing in for Doomsday? Besides
Doomsday, I'm just bringing in all the hate pieces. Deafening Silence, Dahlia,
what are you
know.
cutting? What are you cutting in
Harper,
this deck too?
Moms.
Moms, yeah.
I don't know what they do against Doomsday. Retrofitter, Crucible, too slow. Probably fourth Painter.
All right. That was here. We're on game 2, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we had Burn's obvious too. You guys don't do about
Yeah, Burn's just Dahlia's, stuff you bring in for Storm. Except it's not Storm because it can't win on turn 1.
Play here.
Yeah, we're good here. This looks first hand
Let me go
looks
back.
kind of mediocre.
Sorry. Keep doing this.
I don't know if there should be a way to rewind in this function. I think.
All right, so I'll go slow. Nice.
Come on,
slow.
Daybreak Games, give us a rewind button.
I know, huh?
You run the shit now.
All right, what are you doing?
Throwing it back. One lander, not worth it.
Yeah. We can draw cards.
Maybe on the draw I keep it. Maybe on the draw I keep it, but not on.
What are you doing here?
This looks fine. I'd probably put back second Sentinel, maybe, and try to lead on Vial, but
Kept it.
I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do with this.
I kept it and I put what back?
You put back Oswald. That's okay. That's defensible. He's not doing anything really proactive yet. Although he does get Canonist, which is good.
Yes.
I would probably on Sentinel, yeah. If you're going to go this route.
I'm going to draw a card anyway, hopefully, but...
Mm-hmm. Always get to attack first, but see if he has, like, Dead Gone or something. That's fine. So you're gonna play Violent Outburst? What was the third man? Oh, Simian Spear Guide. Okay. So draws 2 cards, they get 2 Rhinos. Elvish Spear Guide, whatever. So this is looking much better than the last time they had a
So they hit Collect the Roof.
Oh, that's so why would that's why Rhinos, you have to play these really, if you're playing a non-game winning combo deck in Legacy, you have to play these like 2-mana hate pieces. You just have to in the sideboard to stop those decks, which means that you run into misses with Cascade decks like this when you board those in. So they didn't run into any footfalls until they ran into this oof.
Could be good enough in some circumstances, but...
Yeah, but not against this hand.
Alright.
Because we have Mother Runes and Smith and the stuff that doesn't really care that much about
this deck is it's multifaceted, It's
yeah.
Combo.
Now, we did just draw Ancient Den, which I draw every time somebody casts Soof against me, but...
Did I play this right? I think I did. Hopefully I did.
Yeah, it seems fine.
So I gotta go... I gotta remember to show the card choices here.
I don't think I would have wasted there, just because that's our 3rd mana for Rhinos, or making constructs, not Rhinos.
Yes.
I would have just kept the Wasteland and cast Grindstone or something, but that's up for debate. If we draw a land here, we're really rewarded. So because Ancient Den, remembered, is not a real land. Yeah, so okay. I guess we're kind of rewarded.
How did I play Saga there? I think I'm trying to get pieces out from the Sagas.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to play Saga because Ancient Den isn't a land because they have
right,
Collector.
because Collector Roof, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So no punishment. Okay. So they've got this, and then we're gonna draw 2 cards again.
And another roof.
Oh my God! They don't even draw 2 cards. They just have some tutus.
Yeah. So no crashing footfalls. Where is it?
Maybe they just boarded out the footfalls.
They probably could.
They thought Oof was that important, but that's what I'm saying. So no single hate piece is going to beat this deck, right?
Yeah.
Because right now we're just playing around Oof. We don't really care.
So is it just Oof?
Well, you wouldn't see anything other than you wouldn't see footfalls unless they had a footfalls off the cascade, right? So I guess they tried to board into this we get Collector Roof plan, but Collector Roof does not win the game on its own.
They do have Fury in the deck too, so.
Yeah, Fury is to look out for sure. So we do have the Painter, so at such time as they lose their oofs, we can win.
Did I make a creature here? I did.
Yeah, you gotta, you always do. Yeah. And they just concede to that. That makes sense. I think they went for this aggressive sideboard plan of get oof and then realized because of the Smith construct plan, it's not really going to win the game.
All right, match 3 here.
Match 3 or game 3, match 4 is it by now? Yeah. So we've seen this deck beating some decks that are doing some pretty powerful things.
Keep this, right?
Easy keep. No white mana, but we have the Vial. It's all good. We've got double Canist in hand. They've got turn 1 Violent Outburst. I mean, it's Crashing Footfalls. It's pretty good. But we have turn 3 win.
Let's see what happens. See how I play it.
You've got to play Saga Vial here. No question. If you ever see a white Painter player playing Saga on turn 1, it's because they want to win on turn 3.
Right.
And they can't win on turn 3. They only have 8 power. They don't have 10 power.
The Painter, I would imagine, yeah.
Yep, there's a debate about whether you just play Whole, but it's smarter to play Painter and just go for broke, I think.
Could have been Force of Will there, but...
Yeah, he could have had Force of Will, but he already had the first Force of Will for the Vial.
True.
So now we just float the mana, get Grindstone. I don't think they have anything, because they don't even have any spells that cost 2 or less. So we just blast them. Yep.
And they do...
I guess they could have had, like, a Eldrazi Titan, I guess.
Did they play Force of Vigor in this deck? I think I saw that. Yeah, so there's one Force here. Force of Negation and the Brazen Borrower. If you guys haven't seen this deck, I think Arcad's been doing pretty well with it. Fire
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a real deck in Legacy.
It's made...
It just, I guess what I don't like about it is that I think it's doing something that it limits your deck building in Legacy a lot more than it does in Modern. Yeah. Although you do get the leyline bindings, you do get the forces and stuff, so you have a lot of interaction. It's a solid deck, but I prefer for something a little bit more consistent.
That's the last match here. What was this? Oh, this was D&T. I had some beautiful plays. Just kidding. I went wacko. I got real nervous. I get all flustered when the game gets whacked out. But
yeah,
this player was good. I love a good D&T player. I love playing.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Great Magic, it is.
A talented D&T or Delver player. I don't know. They can be so much.
Yeah.
So many head games.
So unknown player.
This looks like a great hand against an unknown.
Well, I see Yorion too, so.
Yeah, I think this is... Well, you worry about Wasteland on the Den, but we do have Vial, so I think this is okay. And if he's like a Yorion Zenith or something, this is quite a good hand.
So I started on Wasteland here because I
think that's to encourage him to waste our waste instead of wasting our white mana.
Right.
But we don't know what they might be on, so... Yeah, there's a port. Vial, okay.
This play is kind of nutty.
I would... Okay. And then we're gonna probably Violin yet.
What would you do? Anything different there?
I guess you keep the Violin Sentinel in case of like Force of Vigor or something. And now they're much slower than we are. We have a lot. So we tick this up, and then we put in Smith with it, and then we can play the Ancient Den to grow the Smith, and then we can cast Oswald. So whatever Smith finds is Vial. Okay, not the
I wish I
best.
could have done this earlier, but yeah, this is what we're showing. Get
Not the
Vial.
best. But it's okay. Still draws a card, and we get the Violin, or the Den in. We should probably cast Oswald here.
See.
Yep. Looking good.
So I need a Grindstone here.
I mean, you can Violin Painter and then turn Ancient Den into Grindstone. You just need a little bit more. Okay, so they're going to play Terror on our Oswald. Gains us 2 life. So they pay the Sentinel tax, and here's a Saga, so... I would... Yeah, smart.
Yeah. Hopefully.
No, it's good sequencing.
I guess.
This is fine. So we just start eating yards at this point.
And after you told me about Lion Sash being good against D&T,
you can see why, though. A lot of things incidentally end up in graveyards, right? So you eat their Cathar Commando, you eat their land.
A lot of permanents. He hit my Urza Saga there, right?
It's okay. We're still advantaged, I think.
So yeah, I just keep eating permanents here.
Yep. So this is like Scavenging Ooze if you hadn't seen it, but it says any permanent, and it gets a counter. You don't get a
This is also
life.
equipment, which...
Yep. You can pay 2 to equip it to a creature.
No.
Which, if you equip it to this Esper Sentinel, it's going to make the Sentinel tax much higher, which is an interesting interaction.
And...
So there's the Plow. It's going to give us a card. So that Ingenious Smith was a 3-for-1. It made a creature, it drew us a card, and it took our opponent's thing that drew us a card. That's what I like about this deck so much, is that any combination of 2 creatures in the deck, so Canonist and Mom, or Canonist and Smith, or Sentinel and Mom, or Sentinel and Smith, or Painter and Canonist, or whatever, any combination of 2 of the creatures in the main board creature suite is really dangerous. They all have individual synergies with each other that your opponent has to look out for. So they Violin Stoneforge, which is why we didn't attack.
Wonky. This is where it gets whacked out.
Are they GA or what?
I punted this game big time.
Okay. Oh, do you not give the Sash Pro White or
something happens? Let me play.
Let's see.
I think I forgot they had a Mother of Runes out at some point. So my thinking here was I could have so this is so at this point I could have Violed in Painter, right?
Yeah.
And I could have given this guy Pro Blue.
Yeah.
And come in for lethal, even with a what they show me. They have the Compliat, so
Cauldron, yeah, but Pro Blue or Pro Black would work.
Whatever. So I missed a win there.
Yeah.
And then on the vice versa here, which is fine.
Yeah, people forget Mom can be used aggressively like that to basically make a creature blockable. And Batterskull is dangerous because that's going to start gaining him life. But at the same time, we could block it.
He gives it.
And we can give our creature. We can give our blocker protection from the germ, so they don't gain the 4 life.
Island Painter here.
Okay, so block that. Give it pro. They give theirs protection. Now what do we do? Okay, good. I was worried we were worried about like Skyclave Apparition or something out of their vial, but I think we're good. Yep, and now we just have a giant thing. It's gonna be a 9/9, I think. No.
So this is all reveal stuff here.
Yeah, it's revealed, not graveyard.
So there's an Oswald.
I I mean, Oswald's a win next turn
Yep.
through the combo.
Thalia.
We've got a Thalia, which we don't really care about because we're not casting any spells.
Whips. So now spirals out of control a little bit, but it's all right.
It's all good. They're going to gain a lot of life, but it doesn't win you the game through Painter.
Here we go. All right. So you guys know on tap, get a white, get grindstone on play, and just combo out.
Yep.
All right.
Pretty much.
Game 2. See what happens here. Kept his hands.
Yeah, it looks like a decent opener.
I just think Sentinel's kind of weak in this game, no?
Yeah, it's not great, but it's better than nothing, and it's a one-drop artifact to get rid of with Oswald later.
True. So that's one.
Especially when they don't have a turn 1 play, so they're going to try to turn 1 plow us or something, so just not giving them anything to plow is smart.
So I play Ethersworn Canonist because I think I'm trying to bid out a removal spell here. Which
I think you. I mean, I'm reading plow pretty hard here.
Yeah,
the turn 1 planes go.
Especially if they pass like that with the planes go. You're right.
Yep.
I don't feel comfortable with the Oswald yet, so I play that way.
Yeah, you would rather lose Canonist than Oswald. Canonist goes from not very good against D&T to really good as soon as you have Mother Runes active. Because Mother Runes plus Canonist basically means they just can't play any removal spells.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was the last statement, Eddie? Sorry.
Mother Runes plus Canonist basically means, other than like Portable Hole or something, they can't play any removal spells.
Right.
Because you need to like double up on removal spells to kill anything when you have Mom anyway.
Yep.
But when you have Canonist, you just can't double up on spells. Period. So.
So that happens. They showed me Skyclave, 5 cards in hand at this point.
Yep. This feels like it's moving towards building a lot of constructs, and then eventually winning with Painter through Oswald.
So there was a Field of Ruin on my Mars Saga.
But the thing about Oswald here is that he finds both halves of the combo. You just get rid of the Ancient Den for a Grindstone, you get rid of the Sentinel or whatever for a Painter the second vial.
Except if they have their own Caracas.
Yeah, which we may see.
So Sparrow's kind of happy to see this. 4 cards in hand, still has a Skyclave. I violin Oswald on step.
Yep.
And what
looks good. Here? So Vial never goes above 2 in this deck.
Right, 1 and 2.
There's never a situation where you want Vial above 2.
So I rip the Vial out.
You get Painter first. You might want, I don't know, maybe Lion's Sash or something.
He has Skyclave.
Painter or Lion's Sash.
He has Skyclave Apparition in his hand, right?
He has Skyclave Apparition in his hand, so he casts the Skyclave Apparition, and then I don't know, you get another Painter. You have a lot of 1-drops.
You don't get Torpor Orb here?
You might get okay. Actually, yeah, that just kind of shuts their entire game plan off. I forgot we had that.
I'm just asking that. I don't know. Do you?
I mean, they've already got their Recruiter out. They've already got a lot of value off these GTB triggers. But yeah, you know, maybe Torpor Orb is smart.
Maybe you just.
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing about this deck, though. I don't think anybody knows 100% what the right line is. It's a very complicated deck.
Exactly, and I maybe I'm mistaken, but I just think it's any. That's why Magic's great. It's anybody's game plan, whatever you want to do.
I guess you get Torpor Orb. Yeah, Torpor Orb is fine.
What else was I going to say? Torpor Orb.
Lion Sash is also a reasonable option here because it becomes really large.
I get Torpor Orb here.
That works. You might want to spend 2 mana in Portable Hole with Thalia.
I agree, and I should have because of this.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more for future games because I've done some. I've burned removal like this and wish I had it for.
Yeah, makes sense.
But that being said, what am I really afraid of? Like a token, a germ token?
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that Plow beats, you know. So you want to free up Plow, I think. Not that Portable Hole doesn't also beat that stuff, but I would want to run it out before I run out the plow because it has text with Oswald. It turns into a 2-drop.
So I blocked there. I don't know if that was right, but to save damage, I guess. Anyway, ports me here. Bounces in my upkeep. He bounces Oswald. Draw another Oswald. So this is kind of a weird game here. He's playing with me with Caracas, and so here I burn out with a tapped Caracas. I burn out with Thalia.
Makes sense.
So now I'm going to have to try to catch him with this Caracas. He can't really use his mana productively. That's just a 2/2 for 3.
I would have just put Yorion in hand if I were the opponent.
So I try to block here, then he forces him to use the Caracas here.
Yep.
What else we have? Stays on 2. So John Joe comes in play.
Mm-hmm.
I did not attack, which I think is fine.
You cast the first Oswald, yes, and then you have this vial up for the second they Caracas the Oswald, you get the other Oswald.
Yeah, but again, a heads up D&T player.
Yep.
Didn't let that happen, really. So it gets a little interesting as the game goes on. I don't block.
So the way for the D&T player to get around this is by Caracasing the Oswald on our upkeep in response to the Ether Vial trigger. Yeah.
They do.
Or before it goes to our main phase. But
comes out.
Just obviously a backbreaking card in this board state. Just Solitude on nothing, no text, 3/2 for 5, lifelink. Not the worst rate in limited. I guess you just Violent Oswald anyway because you can. You do this. That's good.
You could have bounced it in response, though, right?
It's not legendary.
Oswald? Alright.
Oh, you gotta bounce our Oswald, yeah, but then when they try to bounce our Oswald, we have a cheaper Iganjo. Because it costs 1 less.
Oh, right.
With a legendary creature.
Yep. You missed that text, too.
Yeah. So they intelligent play port our Saga before we can make the first construct, so we are only going to get the second construct.
Yep, and they put the Iganjo in hand, too.
Yep.
So, might as well play the game.
Yep.
Throw him in again, see what happens. Upkeep, same thing.
So we flood the mana. We're going to use this mana to activate the Saga.
So here, what
Very
do you
nice. Maybe Needle for Caracas?
Right, that's what I end up doing. But I think I draw Wasteland here.
Yeah, if you draw Painter, obviously you get Gradstone.
So here, what are you getting? Let's take a look.
Let's see what we got. Okay. I might get Retrofitter.
So I think, call me crazy.
I might just get Grindstone.
I think I got a Needle for, let's see. I actually got Needle for Caracas. But I have the Wasteland.
Yeah, well, you can take out the port with the Wasteland, so it's not a...
Yeah. So this is where I started bugging out, didn't play optimally. I tapped the Wasteland for Oswald here. What did I do? I tapped for Oswald for some reason.
Oh. Yeah.
I can play better, I promise.
For sure.
Alright, so Caracas is turned off. I can resolve Oswald. If he goes to Swords It, I can violate another one and step to get 3 cards in hand. Nothing comes into play. Torp Orb, shut off everything. And what happens here?
Probably Solitude.
Cast Yorion.
4/5 flying for 4. 4/5 flying for 5. It's not quite a Baneslayer Angel, but it's pretty good.
I don't Swords here.
I don't think swords. We don't need the swords. We're not so worried.
Draw Wasteland. Here I Wasteland like I should have before.
Yep. Now we get Grindstone, I assume. Yep. And the next turn we'll get Painter. I would have probably swung.
Yeah, I missed that attack too. Another thing, I would miss that attack. Believe me, I got like 7 things going on at the same time, but no excuse.
But they're stuck on a triple plow now, or triple vial, which is probably not where they want to be. It just means they're not drawing any gas.
Yeah.
Yep, no text. That's the vial. I mean, that's the orb. Orb was definitely correct.
Mill him.
Yep. See what they got. Get any information. Smith for sure. No text because of the orb, unfortunately, but now we can just get rid of... But I would probably have gotten rid of Needle there instead of Vial.
Yep.
You get the Painter?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Because if we get rid of Needle, that frees up our own Caracas.
Correct. I was sweating at this point, Eddie.
So So now we're so scared. What if they have plow? What if they have plow? What if they have this? But we don't even got to worry about that because if they have plow, path to exile, we just get another one next turn, so it's fine. We mill them some couple lands. Now the like slow mill plan, the manual mill from Grindstone is much faster against monocolored decks than otherwise.
Yep.
So even at this point, they got to start getting worried about cards in library. This is a smart trade, and we're at a pretty healthy life total. Now we can get rid of the needle, and there we go.
And they tap white, one white.
White scoop, very smart. I like this opponent.
So that was that. You guys see the way it gets
smooth 5-0.
played out. So.
Honestly, not too much to talk about gameplay-wise from this league, besides like the little micro optimizations we were discussing.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, very well played league. Deck looks really nice. Mainboard, I've been very happy with the deck in the current meta. There's a lot of these like kind of dirtily mid-range piles that you can really prey upon with the Canonists and Wastelands.
Yeah. So
a lot of Delver, which is actually pretty good.
Eddie? Main deck?
It looks like this, except we're going to trim the Retrofitter and the Lion Sash.
Yep.
For a mainboard Phyrexian Revoker and Shadow Spear.
Now, what's the Revoker naming mostly?
Lion's Eye Diamond. Against very fast artifact decks. You can name like 15 things against the new builds of Elves. You can name Mox Diamond. You can name Chrome Mox against Red Prison. Yep. You can name any number of Planeswalkers. It can just be a second needle a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. You can name... I don't know. I mean, Stoneforge Mystic is generally a good card to name with it.
Street Race?
Yeah, it's just like a pretty all-purpose... It's good against everything except Delver. It doesn't name anything.
And you keep Crucible of Worlds in, too?
Yeah, I love Crucible. I mean, we didn't see it come up at all this match, but it's a very, very useful kind of trump card to have in the back.
And the sideboard is your March of Otherworldly Light 2 copies?
Yeah, sideboard I would be on 2 or 3 March, probably. 2 or 3 Deafening Silence. I have not been playing the 4th Canonist in the side, but it's totally reasonable. It's obviously a great card.
Yeah.
It's just that the effect is redundant. So it doesn't... It's like when you have 2 Smiths or something, they reinforce each other. But when you have 2 Canonists, they just kind of both sit there.
Right.
So that's the...
Well, it's a card you want in a lot of matchups.
Right.
Some of those matchups this deck has trouble with, but...
Definitely Torpor Orb got to stay in the sideboard.
Yeah. You were messing around with Citizen's Crowbar for a while, too, I think?
Yeah, that was fun. I 5-0'd Citizen's Crowbar, and then everyone assumed that meant I thought it was a good card, which it didn't mean.
Now, there's a couple other cards out there. I see people chatting about the double white Sanctifier on Vec.
Yeah, Sanctifier on Vec is interesting. That's a Modern Horizons 2 card, which is like a rest in peace for red and black cards, meaning a rest in peace for everything if painter names red and black. Yeah. And it has protection from red and black, meaning it's a little progenitus if paint their names red or black. So it's pretty interesting card. Yeah. But I don't like the double white in the cost. You see a lot of the time in this deck you have like Plains Wasteland or Plains...
I've seen some builds too with like a
Saga
in it too.
Yeah! People like the Singleton I don't really know what it's for. I guess it like activates Grindstone better.
Yeah.
But like resolving turn 1 painter is not important to this deck. In the way that, like, a deck that really wants Ancient Tomb, it is, you know?
Yep.
There's not really anything we critically need, like... The deck is sort of built so our 1-mana plays are good turn 1 plays, and our 2-mana plays are our good turn 2 plays. So we don't have to worry so much, I think, about trying to accelerate past that. Like, I get the instinct, you're playing a combo deck, you want to be as fast as possible, you want to have that extra burst of speed maybe coming out of the mana base if you need it, but I don't think you really need it very often. I don't think you're trying to do that most of the time, you know?
Yeah.
Now there are worlds where adding an Ancient Tomb means you have a turn 2 win, but they're very slim. You need like Tomb Painter, turn 2, Ancient Den, Mox Opal, Grindstone, you know. So it's not like a very high probability thing. And now there are worlds. I think that the bigger question is 3 Vial and the 1 Opal versus other configurations of this little fast mana suite. You might want to play some Petals. You might want to play a second Opal or something, but I like it how it is. I think it very good in the current meta.
Yep.
But the deck in general is very sensitive to metagame fluctuations. You can't just ignore what you think you'll be playing against when you build something like this, because we don't have cantrips like you always say with the red painter decks, right? So not only do you have to rely on the top of the deck, you have to rely on what's in the deck to be on top of the deck. So you can't play cards that just aren't going to do anything.
Right.
In matchups you run into. It's like, okay, great. I drew my my Tomic Distinguished Advocist or something. And then if there's nothing that's targeting lands, it's like, why do I even have this?
I think I just think the deck is just so well rounded. I mean, how can you not like this? I mean, Esper Sentinel's great card. It's just everything ties well together. Everything just ties very well together. I mean, you have two main pieces like engines here, Oswald and Ingenious Smith.
Yeah.
You have Penis Servant Grindstone combo. You have Mother of Runes, very effective. You have E-Canonist, which is just great in Legacy, period. And then you have everything in between. The Vial, of course, needs to be answered. Portable Hole, we have all the nice Toolbox artifacts. It just encompasses a lot of good aspects of Magic, and it's nice. It's a nice deck. It's fun. If anybody
it's
hasn't
just
checked it out,
fun to play too. I think it's sort of refreshing to be playing a format as powerful as Legacy is right now, and just playing a 1/1 on 1 and a 2/2 on 2, and staying on curve and being efficient and taking advantage of Wasteland. And I don't know, just like a very.
There's not many reserveless cards in this deck too.
Zero reserveless cards.
So this deck is pretty affordable, except for.
I mean, by the standards of Legacy, it's very affordable. I've been trying to figure out builds of it that are even more affordable. This version is like $1,000, $1,100 in paper, and a lot cheaper online. But I think everybody should get to play Legacy, right? And you or I, or the average Legacy player, doesn't have control over things like the reserve list, doesn't have control over things like reprint policy or proxy policy or whatever that these different tournament organizers or wizards may have. But what we do have control over, I think, is that we can build decks that are powerful and fun to play and don't cost a down payment on a house. You know what I mean?
Right.
For this format. And Painter in general is a fairly affordable archetype in paper, even though online it's expensive now, Red Painter, because of Fable. Yeah. But I think that if we focus our attentions on building decks like this, which are competitive and fun to play, and not as insanely expensive as some of the other decks in the format.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Great Magic. Great deck. I want to say thank you, and nice deck.
Of course. Maybe I'll be back for
nice build. You know what I mean?
Later. Thank you.
I got my button. Eddie gave me my button. I'm a mono white painter player too.
You're officially in the mono white painter community.
So
might be fun to come back and do a live one at some point.
Now that I got the technology,
everything.
Listen, guys, I'm just a bricklayer from Boston. I'm not a techie guy, but now I figured out the whole streaming deal. I tried a little bit, I look forward to more matches with it, more games, and I love Painter. And anyway, it was nice to have you on.
Everyone should love Painter.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks very much. I don't have any socials to plug or anything, but
you guys know
everybody keep playing Magic, keep playing Painter.
Yeah. All right.
And join the Painter Discord. I will say that. I think that we have a really great community here, and anybody who's interested in this deck should seek out the Discord, because it's the best way to learn and play.
Agreed. All right, brother.
See ya.
All right, see you, man. Eddie the Intern. Thank you, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Continue to make them. And like I said, this deck is great. If you guys like white painter, kind of toolbox style decks, play it. It's fun. So anyway, I will see you guys next time.